according to the Harvard School of Public Health, 70% of diets fail because they ignore individual variability. And according to the Predict study, two people can have opposite metabolic response to the same food. In other words, the one-size-fits-all diet does not work. That's why we're talking about precision nutrition. And I want to dive into precision nutrition in today's podcast, Equilibrium podcast, with probably one of the most prominent experts in precision nutrition, being Nard Clabbers. Welcome, Nard.
Thank you very much.
Nard is the Director of Strategic Development, Breckland Campus, Greenport Venlo in the Netherlands, Holland. And he's also the founder and CEO of NCNC Nutrition Consultancy. So, Nard, great to have you here. What is precision nutrition?
That's a very good question to start with. It's a little bit impossible to answer. We've actually written a paper on it a few years ago to try to kind of harmonize all of the different definitions. Because especially precision nutrition is seen differently by different people. But let's say on a whole, it is using individual specific information to give people a more precise prescription or idea of what good nutrition is for them at that moment. Right? So it is really to individualize the advice for what someone needs to eat.
So is precision nutrition, according to you, here already, or it's something for the future, or something that will only come into the future? Because speaking with you in previous weeks and days, you said, well, precision nutrition is nothing new, has been here for a long time, but it's not really flourishing.
No, indeed. I mean, precision nutrition or personalized nutrition, I mean, those terms also kind of overlap. I mean, a dietitian is personalizing nutrition for you, right? So, but when we talk about precision nutrition, the field, it is usually combined with data and technology and the promise of scaling this to large groups. And that part, let's say, so the precision nutrition part is nothing new. It can be helped, let's say, by technology, by sensors, by using continuous glucose sensoring, like the Predict study, by using microbiome analysis, by using DNA analysis, all kinds of parameters in the blood, like vitamins, etc. But personalizing nutrition doesn't need to be very technological, because a dietitian has been doing that for, 50 years or something. Let's say the field.
So, in other words, Nards, is instead of going to a nutritionist or a dietologist, you can basically do it on your own with your devices.
Yeah. I mean, that's I think the whole promise of the field of personalized nutrition, and it's been evolving. Let's say from, okay, we have to measure your DNA to, let's see, with quantified self what we can measure, etc. And the promise has always been to have a lot of input data, to have some kind of a decision engine, and then the perfect advice. And I think something that we are growing towards also is using behavioral aspects more, because what we've seen in a lot of companies, but also in, let's say, the whole field of personalized nutrition, is that it is not per se the quality of the nutritional advice, but it is the ease with which people can use that advice to change their behavior in real life that makes it a success or not. Because usually just people more knowledge, more information on what's healthy is not really helping them to change their behavior.
Wonderful. And are people ready for this? And are people demanding for this? This is the question, because I'm afraid that there's already a lot of apps that you can easily download, and you can put in the food you're eating. You can take pictures. It's measuring your calories, the intake calories, the outtake calories. But I see that often people start doing it, and after a few hours or days, they get tired. Like, I don't want to take a picture of everything I'm taking. Right. I'm lazy to do so, or I'm afraid to see exactly what's going on with me.
Absolutely. What you see is that there is definitely a lot of people that are willing to try it. So there's a big, let's say, initial demand for it, but then you see a very quick drop off. So people are not really engaging that much into this personalized nutrition idea because it really is also a hassle to change your behavior. Because that's in the end, you're in the supermarket, you're buying something else, and you're cooking something else for yourself and your family. And the whole first part of technology and measuring yourself and getting the best advice, that's all fun. But then it gets to real life. You have to buy something else, you have to cook something else, you have to eat something else, and that gets more complicated.
Yeah, and again, if you go to a nutritionist, you go once every month or every 6 months or even
Yeah,
every year, and you feel morally okay. I did that. I'm okay. But here it's like having the nutritionist next to you
yeah,
24/7.
absolutely. And also, I mean, what is really important to get this idea of precision nutrition or personalized nutrition off the ground, let's say, for more people, because there's definitely a big market already, but it's for people, let's say, who are more self-motivated, like athletes or busy CEOs, people who are really investing in their own health. But to make it more applicable, more let's say, for the mass market, you really need to lower the efforts and increase also the benefit for people, because there's a mismatch now if you ask, let's say, large groups of people for what personalized nutrition is for them.
And do you think that incentives, like I'm reading that in the UK, some insurance companies are giving a little gift if you walk things during your day. Do you think this sort of incentives are going to work, or I lower your insurance premium? Is this something that is going to push people, going to motivate people to follow precision nutrition?
Yeah, there are several really interesting examples across the globe, I would say, in using insurance premiums to motivate people to change their behavior. In Holland, for instance, you can save for a smartwatch. So if you behave well and your smartwatch tells the insurance company that you have exercised, then you actually get the smartwatch for free after 2 years. Actually,
Okay.
a good friend of mine uses this, but he gives the watch to his girlfriend also because she's more active. So, I mean, it's definitely not flawless. You can put it on
So
your dog
Italians are
whatever, right?
everywhere, huh? Even
Yeah,
in the Netherlands.
yeah. But also in South Africa, for instance, there's Discovery. They give you a real discount on your premium if you shop for fruits and vegetables at a certain grocery chain. Also in the US with the Kaiser Permanente, they have their own hospitals. So it's really beneficial for them to prevent you, after you've gotten a heart attack, for instance, to come back to the hospital again. So they also really invest in so personalizing the advice and getting people to behave better. But in a lot of, especially European countries with, let's say, for instance, in the UK and NIH, or in Holland, when there is where everyone needs to have an insurance, then there really is not a big incentive for the insurers to invest a lot in prevention. And that's a system challenge, basically, that really needs a paradigm shift for it to really become successful. And there is a lot of investment interest in personalized nutrition solutions that will be reimbursed by healthcare insurance, but it's kind of tough. So in Germany, you see some
Yeah.
examples with the DIGA, but it's slow moving. But there's definitely a lot happening there. We would call that the food as medicine, let's say. So really moving that towards healthcare and towards reimbursement. There's definitely going to be a lot of changes in the next 5 to 10 years, but that's moving slower than we would all hope.
Yeah. So you're saying that where you have too much government intervention, let's say welfare or healthcare system, that's slowing down the precision nutrition. And do you see also a conflict, for instance, with the new drug like pharmaceutical products that can help with obesity? Or
Yeah,
do you see this as a part of precision nutrition?
yeah, like with the Wegovy, let's say all of the GLP-1 agonist. I mean that's definitely shaking up the market. there's actually a lot of companies that see it as a possibility, also as a chance for them to enter that market, because those people are investing quite heavily in their health, and they are changing their food habits because they're eating less. They're also eating different things. So it's definitely an opportunity also for a lot of personalized nutrition companies to ride that wave. And I also see that happen. It will definitely not go away. It will only become more. So the medical treatment and medical solutions for overweight and obesity will only increase. There's no turning back, I would say. There's not. I mean, there's a lot of pushback from, let's say, serious nutritionists like myself, people in the health business that think it is unethical, unwanted, unnecessary to first, you know, turn someone obese, with a lot of ultra processed food, with a lot of, let's say, obesogenic environment, and then also have a pharmaceutical solution to then, kind of make them slim again. Not
Yeah.
necessarily metabolically healthier, but make them slim again. But I mean, it is the way the world goes, probably, and I don't really see large groups of people changing their behavior to really become healthier or to prevent becoming obese. I mean, that's what we all want, but it's not really happening. You don't really see that
Yeah,
happening.
because what you're saying here is on one side, precision nutrition is the sort of devices, AI, and tools that are, in a way, helping us as tools to be educated, to move toward a balanced lifestyle.
Yeah,
So, not just what we eat, but how we live, how we sleep, how long, how much movement or physical activity we do, also our state of mind, probably. But on the other side, you see these drugs that are
yeah,
somehow giving a strange message, I would say. Hey, just do whatever you want, and then you take a shot or you take a pill and you get slim. But as you said, you're not going to change your behavior. You're just aesthetically changing. So
yeah.
there remains a problem with the physical inactivity or the amount of food you eat.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, if you stop using the product, if you stop using the GLP-1 agonist, then you'll gain weight again. So I mean, it's not really a solution; it's a fix. But anyway, I mean, and for me, I think what's really the strength and the future strength of personalized nutrition or precision nutrition is consumer empowerment. So it's really about making people aware, making people more conscious of what they can do themselves to improve their health towards the future. And it's not saying, okay, all of the responsibility is on the individual. So the market and the governments, they can do anything because you're responsible. No, I think it has to be both. So you also have to work on the legislation, on the food environment, etc. But I think and I hope that personalized nutrition and all of the tools and the technology and all of the data can help people to know exactly what food is doing for their body, making, in effect, everything they eat functional. So if you know what the food does for you, then I think that you will become more conscious of what you're buying or what you're putting into your system.
Yes, no, I really love this idea of the empowerment and the functionality of food and the awareness of
Yeah,
exactly what you're eating. I'm always amazed that we don't know what we eat.
yeah,
If I
yeah,
ask anybody, what did you eat earlier today? Oh, they tell you maybe the names of the food, but they don't know what it was.
yeah.
Sometimes they're very confused with carbohydrates and sugar. I shouldn't eat sugar. It's too bad. But I have one observation because some people talking to me, are as we criticize in a way this abuse probably of pharmaceutical products like GLP-1 and so on. Don't you see that there is a risk with this presence of wearables and devices all around us that then food, physical activity, they become a sort of obsession that we spend all our time just checking whatever is going on with our body and we get a bit obsessed with this, you know, living forever because some people really are addicted to devices. They keep
Yeah.
counting how much they're moving, how many steps and so on. Don't you see this risk out
Absolutely.
there?
I mean, there's let's say no solution is for everyone, right? So there's always groups, I would say small groups that go too far with checking every metric and obsessing over it. On the other hand, I think, to be honest, that there's a very large group that would benefit from a little bit of, let's say, biological feedback on what their body is actually doing, because they're so out of sync with what their body is doing that I think a little bit of feedback there would help. And I've heard from many people using, for instance, a continuous glucose monitor just for the 2 weeks that the device is active, that it really helped them see what food does to them, to their body. And we can discuss, about the uh, uh, you know about the value of, let's say, continuous glucose monitor for healthy people, etc. But the fact that they just see what's happening inside their body actually changes their view on what they're putting in their mouth, and I think that's actually a very valuable experience for them. So I think, let's say, these people overdoing it, that's a small group, that's a very visible group. I think there's a large group that could actually benefit from a little bit more biological feedback.
Yeah, and again, to get to the end here of this very interesting interview, Nard, I really love the precision nutrition. And also how you express and present it. One of the objection was, yes, but this is for Western countries.
Yeah.
This is just for rich people that have devices. But correct me if I'm wrong. Technology will be cheaper and cheaper and more accessible. As I always think about Africa, where in most countries there were no telegraph, there was no phone, and suddenly they got the mobile devices, and their communication went as a revolution. They jump like leapfrog into a different time. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this will help billion of people to learn also and to enjoy food, because at the end food is also about enjoyment, and
Absolutely.
sometimes we just eat whatever we find and we're not thinking, hey, I can look for something better and even more tasty for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, here, what you see, I think the African example is great. I mean, you also see banking completely revolutionized by mobile technology. There's not only communication, but they don't pay like we used to do 20 years ago. It's not the same progression. What you see with the technology is that indeed a lot of personalized nutrition solutions focus heavily on technology, on let's say, expensive, westernized technology. It doesn't necessarily need that, but you do see that companies that want to make money in this field think that that's their best shot at making money. And again, I'm not against that. I think that's perfectly fine. You need to find a target audience that actually wants to pay for your solution. And that target audience in time will grow also because the technological solutions will become much cheaper and better. And also the threshold for use will become lower. So I think that's a perfectly fine way of entering the market. Start with people that actually are willing to pay for your solution and then try to grow that market. I mean, yeah, what else could you do, right?
Yeah, wonderful. And at the end of our conversation here, policy making, of course, can help a lot. We've been pushing, for moving away from this one size fits all into personalized nutrition. But since we are Europeans, and let's say in our part of the world, policymakers love to regulate a lot. Don't you see the risk, if there is a risk, that this presence of millions and billions and trillions of very sensitive data, because it's about our DNA, our metabolism, and even about the neutrality of algorithm. I'm eating something that is told to me not by my favorite nutritionist, my neighbor nutritionist, the guy I trust,
Yeah.
but it's given to me by a device. Don't you see that people might say, hey, I'm relying on an algorithm that is managed by a US or China based company? And
Yeah.
don't you see policymakers being a bit worried and say, okay, we need to regulate here a bit?
Absolutely. I think it's a really interesting and really essential aspect. We don't have all the time to go into that, but I think I've made a lot of, say, overviews of what I think personalized, the world of personalized nutrition or precision nutrition looks like. And for me, it always starts with trust and transparency. So you need to have a basis of trust and transparency upon which you can build this personalized nutrition world of devices and advice and feedback and etc. And this trust and transparency also means that you need to have rules and regulations. So I, for one, am not against clear regulations also in the European Union. I think so. Some people say, all of our regulations are hindering us, and the US is advancing. But I think towards the future, I think the regulations and the clear rules may also help the industry, because people actually trust the industry more, and the industry actually has a chance to be transparent. So I think in the long run, we don't have to be afraid of, let's say, regulations. We have to work with the regulations, be clear about our added value upon those regulations. So I think it actually could be an opportunity also for the European market.
Trust, you said, and we trust very much into precision nutrition, and we trust in you, Nard, because you've been pushing for precision nutrition. You've been doing this for many years, and we'll keep following you. This was a very initial dive. We'll come back to this topic, and we'll come back to this with you again. So thanks for being here with us. And guys, this was Equilibrium, the podcast, and we're pushing for into a personalized nutrition and into a balanced lifestyle. Thanks, Nard. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.